Hi, I'm Astrologer Penny Dix, and we are here on the 25th of January to look at the astrological energies for the forthcoming week. There's quite a lot going on. In fact, the astrology is not disappointing in its attempt to bring about what I can only describe as potentially cataclysmic change on the planet. So let me say hello to everyone. Christine, yes, we do need a new cycle. It is time to break free. Andy, glad you're here, glad you've joined us, and hope that the match was fun. And yes, Simi, Mark Carney was brilliant. And he certainly, there was a stark contrast between his speech and the other speech. Let's just call it that. Hello, Shirley. Hello, MMVH7KC. Hello. And Sue NB. Hello. Yes, you've got really big snowstorms in America. And Estrella is here. Hi, Estrella. And Laura. Hello, Laura. Poonam, Samantha. And Toby. Hello, Toby G. And Simi, Christine. Everyone's here. So, oh gosh, what a week. The day before today is the day before Neptune moves into Aries. This is a really significant move for us. And I do think it is interesting to look a little bit at the background of what happened last time. And I'm not talking about last year, but the last time Neptune moved into Aries for its 14-year stint. So I've done a little bit of research. And Neptune takes, just so we can get this into context, about 164.8 Earth years to complete one full orbit of the Sun. So most of us would not get our Neptune return until after we're dead. So we might get a half return, which happens when we're 82 years old. And Neptune squares and oppositions can be major generational and spiritual turning points. And Neptune, just as a point of reference, was discovered in 1846 and completed its first observed orbit of of the Sun in 2011. So what do we know about what happened last time Neptune was in Aries? Well, I think you might find this quite interesting because it was roughly from April 1861 till April 1875, and there were brief retrograde overlaps either side. Do those dates ring any bells with anyone in the United States? Let me tell you what was happening. The American Civil War started in 1861 till 1865. So Neptune entered Aries almost exactly at the same time as the American Civil War began. So if we look at why that might be, it might help us get some context on what is going on globally. And I'm not talking just about what's been happening in the United States, which, as I said in the comments, is a wonderful masterclass in gaslighting. It has to be said. It has to be said, but we're not going to fall for it. And also, I think that what is happening in Iran is also part of what is being brought to a tipping point by Neptune moving into Aries. So let's just deal with the Neptune in Aries first, because Aries or Neptune deals with ideals, sacrifice, illusion, martyrdom, collective myth. And what's Aries? War, conflict, initiation, identity. Who are we and what do we stand for? So the Civil War that America had between 1861 and 1865 was about freedom versus slavery, union versus succession, and competing myths of national identity. Does that ring any bells? Just suggesting. Yes, Janice, I absolutely agree. It has been a very hard week observing what is going on out there. And Simi, you're saying you like to think that the pressure has been released and now it's time to clean up. Not quite. I don't think so. Not quite. You see, with the American Civil War, there was enormous idealism, sacrifice, and loss. And that was going on alongside propaganda, chaos, confusion, and maybe a romanticized vision of what war is about. That was very Neptune in Aries. And this period saw the rise of mass nationalism, war justified through ideals and moral narratives. Citizens were encouraged to sacrifice themselves for abstract principles. So Neptune in Aries doesn't fight just for territory, it fights for beliefs. That is what is happening in Iran. That is what is happening in Ukraine and territory. And that is what has been happening in the Middle East. And dare I say, maybe that also applies to the United States. Let's see, Jim, you agree with Christine, although you're not sure, you see clean-up cycle as negative. Yeah, I think it's necessary, absolutely. Our nervous system, Christine says, can be shut down. Take it seriously. Your central nervous system needs to be nurtured. Love and care, it's your control base. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the other interesting thing that happened when Neptune was last in Aries was that we saw a surge in spiritualism, seances, and mediumship, especially after the massive deaths because of war, because people were seeking meaning and contacting with the dead to try and make some sense of the loss they're going through. There were also new religious and metaphysical movements really gained traction at that time. So Neptune responded to Aries' violence with a search for meaning beyond the physical world. There was also across Europe, nationalist movements, old empires were increasingly questioned, new identities were forged through struggle. Neptune in Aries dissolves old allegiances, replaces them with vision-driven identities, sometimes noble, sometimes delusional. So there were also lots of technological advances, rapid advances in surgery, anesthesia, battlefield medicine. There were the new realities of recognizing and acknowledging PTSD, trauma from battle, shell shock, although it didn't have the name that we apply to it today. And there was a growing awareness of psychological cost of conflict. That's very Neptune. So the shadow side of all of this is that the transit also showed the glorification of sacrifice. Leaders using ideals to justify mass suffering, blurred lines between heroism and exploitation, collective disillusionment once the dream met reality. Neptune in Aries can inspire courage, but it can also weaponize illusion. So how can we, knowing this, how it was then, how can we have learned from that and apply this in a different way, in a better way, in a way that shows we've done the work and we've learnt the pitfalls and holes that we can get caught down? So what's going to happen between Neptune in Aries, which is basically, because it dipped in last year, so 2025 till 2039. So ideological conflict, holy wars, we're getting that a bit in Iran and in the Middle East, confusion between courage and idealism, recklessness. But when belief replaces discernment, action becomes dangerous. Now, that's quite a long piece that I've given you because I felt it was very important to honor the move of Neptune into Aries. And I did a lot of work on this today to find out the information, to collate it, because I'm not an expert on world history of that era. I'm only really, I know a lot about English history, Middle Ages and Tudor, and that's about it really. So, but actually I love history. I think it's a fact. If we pay attention to history, we can learn so much about how to deal with the present. So let me see what you're saying. AMAC, you're hoping that some AI developments may help people suffering PTSD and CPSTD. Great. Hi, Liz the Iron Maiden. And hi, Lady Anne. Good to see you here. And Poonam, good to see you. Hi all. And Lenny Cunningham. You wonder when humans will feel at peace again. Well, we've got to go through this. How does it, let's just have a think about what it means on a personal level, because obviously the external is affecting us, because, and it, it's all very well saying, oh, I'm not going to watch the news and I'm just going to sort of carry on in my little bubble of love, peace and light. That's Neptune just floating along in the clouds, doing nothing. Saturn's going to join it. Saturn will join Neptune in February and say, absolutely not. Let's get this sorted out, and sorted out now. So we've really got to wait till Saturn moves into Aries for that famous conjunction on the 20th of November to potentially see how the difficulties that are being faced in various sections of the world can be dealt with, and dealt with fairly, clearly and honestly. Because remember, Neptune brings in illusion and confusion. I do think it's interesting that before, when it went into Aries, we had more interest in spiritualism, mediumship, seances. And, that was very much something of the Victorian era, when they were sort of, table tapping and, trance work. And I think it's interesting that there was, and I wonder whether over the next 14 years, there will be more attention paid, not maybe on where they were then, but it's a little bit like we talk about human consciousness going through a an upgrade. Let's just use that terminology, that we are expanding in human consciousness, that human consciousness is evolving. And I do think that with Neptune in Aries, we are going to have abilities. We are suddenly going to find that we can tune into these other frequencies, know stuff, just know stuff, really be able to work much more structured with our intuition. That comes from Saturn. And Saturn, if you like, is going to stay in Aries for nearly 3 to 4 years to almost, in a sense, say, right, I'm going to give you a good chance here. I'm going to give you the structure, get you all off your feet with this Neptune energy, and then we'll see what happens. So, traveling mystic, you're in the middle of an ice storm. That is, I know, it's terrible what's happening. What's this? Hello, Katie. Strangely enough, as a Pisces sun and Scorpio moon, Aquarius rising, you feel the want to go to church, and the only time I do is in Sorrento. Do you know that is really weird, Katie? Because I had been thinking that when I get back to the UK, and that is going to happen, I've got a date and it's in July, and I want to start going to the local church in the village where I decide to live. Why not? I just feel, and maybe this is something that is going to unfold in the collective, that we will start feeling we have to turn to what is familiar and safe and secure. Yes, that's right. The Buddhist monks have been walking through NC for peace. Isn't it strange? There's this pull. Yes, Katie, yes. And yeah, Christine, AI may create career crisis. People may be replaced. AI will surpass human capabilities. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Let's hope we keep that under control. Let me see what else is being said. North Carolina. Okay, Simi, you're feeling a great sense of relief, peace, and a positive outlook on the future for calmness in the world soon. I think that will come. I do. I think what I'm finding personally interesting is that the media are, the mainstream media are telling much more what we see rather than a kind of narrative which is an official narrative line. And so that you've got some journalists standing up and just calling things for what they are, because the latest terrible, tragic shooting in Minnesota. I've looked at the video every which way I can, as I'm sure many of you have, and what I saw was he was holding his phone up, and with his other hand, he had it up here. Then they got him on the floor and shot him about 10 times. Well, I don't think it takes 10 shots, does it, to disable someone? Right. Now, what else can we see with this kind of energy? And how can we use it in a positive way? Because we need to look at what's happened in the past and try and learn from that. Who's lying? I don't know who's lying, Traveling Mystic. Jim, desire for church going, maybe a desire for affirmation of collective connected consciousness. That's a really, really interesting way to put it. And that makes total sense to me. I'm curious to know what you're saying is a lie, Traveling Mystic. Uh, who's goons? I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about. Okay. Anyway, right. Now, what else is happening this week? Because we're going to get caught down this rabbit hole. Shirley, you agree with the feelings of wanting to visit church. You joined a Buddhist meditation in Edinburgh. How wonderful. How wonderful. Oh, about the killing in Minnesota. But do you believe it was a lie about how he died, that he was an aggressive terrorist, or is it that he was murdered? That's what I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Are you saying that ICE are lawless goons? Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm recounting the truth of what the collective are saying. I don't want to. Yes, AMAC, I think he was murdered. Yes, murdered. And I'm not sure there won't be more. Now, that takes us on to the next transit, because on Tuesday, Mars is going to be conjunct Pluto. Ouch, in Aquarius. So what is this going to bring up for us? Well, it's concentrated force against collective power. And you've got Mars, action, heat, anger, conflict, violence, assertion, war. Pluto, absolute power, coercion, elimination, death, rebirth, hidden control. And Aquarius, the collective, systems, laws, ideology, groups, networks, the social order. Mars, I think, quite simply, ignites Pluto's will to dominate, purge, or radically transform. And Aquarius moves this into the realm of society, governance, ideology, and collective systems. I mean, what I find so extraordinary is that the astrology couldn't be more on point currently. Everything that is unfolding in front of our very eyes is one transit, then the next transit, then the next transit. We had the hard work while we had all that stellium in Capricorn. Now we've got that same stellium in Aquarius. Then it will move into Pisces. And then in April, it'll be in Aries. So let's not go there yet. But Mars likes power. Mars likes to dominate and can be danger if it's left unchecked. So how it can manifest is with power struggles within governments, organizations, and movements. We don't know what might be going on behind the scenes anywhere. And I'd like to suggest that, as has been hinted at, the US Armada are heading towards Iran, that if we're going to see any action, even if we don't hear about it straight away, it's most likely to take place on, what day did I say this was? Tuesday, when Mars is conjunct Pluto. I think that's the most likely day for something to strike. And that can be anywhere as well, anyway. I think on a personal level, we have to be mindful of how we react to things, try and respond, take a deep breath, take a step back, and just not react to things, because it's volatile energy. And I think collectively we are so hyper at the moment, not just from the astrology and the energies that we're around. Also, remember, because we've been having some geomagnetic storms coming from the sun, so that affects how we feel. We get migraines, headaches, anxiety, feel just wound up, alongside the astrology and what's happening there, alongside the fact that Earth movement, we've also had this alignment of planets, including 3i Atlas that is heading off towards Jupiter. And in a couple of months, we will go through the remnants of its tail, where it's been. Well, this could bring, well, quite simply, it could bring a pandemic, because we don't know what's in that tail. This is how planets get seeded. I think I was reading somewhere or listening to someone, and I can't remember who, saying that the Black Death, the plague, came after a comet had been passing Earth, because they used to write these things down. So Poonam feels like we're in a tinderbox, and one small match can make us react terribly, getting harder and harder to keep stable. Oh, it's Parry here. Fabulous. Oh, fantastic. Parry, we've missed you. We've missed you, Parry. We thought we'd... you've just come out of a 7-day migraine, Katie. Oh, bless you, you poor love. It's just... how it's affecting me is intense anxiety that comes and goes. And it's like a knot in my solar plexus that just... Yes, I've got a lot of other stuff going on that is contributing to that. But it's just intense. I think the energy is intense. Hey, Aileen, good to see you. And who else is there? Someone else was there and I can't see. Carney. Cami. Oh, Cami. Okay. Cami. Someone's not well. Oh, Parry. I think you mean Parry. Is Parry okay? Oh, gosh. Listen, so the Mars-Pluto on Tuesday. So just think about it. Neptune moves into Aries tomorrow. And it actually moves in universal time at 1738 universal time, which is traditionally what GMT used to be called. It's now called universal time. Yeah, Katie, the solar energy gets me every time. Yeah, I'm getting there. I think we're all getting there. And also I've been getting my cats to the vet, and I got George to the vet yesterday. Yes. So 4 done, 1 to go. And then they'll all have their passports updated, and I will be able to, in fact, tomorrow I'm going to book their trip to the UK. That's how quickly things are unfolding for me. And for me, I think, if I think of my chart, this is Neptune in my 9th house. 9th house, overseas, long distance, travel. And once Saturn goes there, everything will be booked and firmed up. That is my sense. So that, for me, is what I think the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is about. And so... and I will try and do a video for each sign, just looking at how the Saturn-Neptune, what part of your chart it's in and how that's going to affect you. I will endeavour to do that in February. Let me see what we're all saying here. Let's see. Rita Dewey, the energy has given you the motivation to do some house cleaning. Do you want to come here? I could do with some... some house cleaning. That would be cool. Oh, yes, Poonam, I tell you, checking off the kitties off the to-do list. Oh, 1 more to go. But the vet has given me a sedative for him because he's the one that goes. So that's why I've left him to last. But anyway, we're getting there. I would love to, Katie. My dear friend Katie is on as Noon. And Katie is also an astrologer, and she's a wonderful medium and psychic. So you should check her out on Facebook, and you should check Katie Keeley out on YouTube. She's a lovely, lovely lady. So, do check her out. I certainly would love to meet you once I'm settled back in the UK. So we'll make it a date. Liz, you started the gym. Round of applause for the lady. That is fantastic. Now, I think we need to look at this energy a little bit more clearly because, so Neptune goes in tomorrow to Aries, and we will never, any of us, experience Neptune in Pisces again. So make the most of it today. It's the last time any of us will experience Neptune in Pisces. And then on Tuesday, so this is a big start to the week. We've got the Mars-Pluto conjunction. So this can be courage fueled by violence, and violence sanctified by vision, having, oh no, it's an ideal. It's what I love you too. I love you too. Let's see. So what was I talking about? Yeah, Mars conjunct Pluto. It can, so a positive could be to break down corruption. I like the sound of that. But, Mars is very surgical because, often if we have surgery, Mars will be present somewhere. I mean, it's always present, but it will be making a particularly strong aspect that would imply surgery. So there's no sentimentality with Mars conjunct Pluto. It's surgery, it's surgical. And it can be ideology. My truth is right. My truth wins. And the thing is, what we seem to have all lost sight of and why everything has become so polarized is because we are not allowing the gift of everybody's differences of opinions, different beliefs. It has got so polarized that everyone is saying, my way is right, and there is only that way. And the more one side becomes polarized, so does the other. And in one sense, both then become unmovable. It becomes the fixed Aquarius energy, because what you need is some flexibility, which we're now losing because, Neptune's leaving Pisces. However, the stellium is going to move into Pisces, so we will get some flexibility, because if we can't see how to meet in the middle with, if we think of the conflict, let's just take what is going on in Minnesota. If both sides of this terrible polarized energy could just stop and actually listen to each other. And unfortunately, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, but one side, and I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong, appear to be thugs. If I'm wrong, I apologize to them. But maybe what I'm doing is showing you the polarization. I'm acting out the polarization, because if I think that and I'm trying to be fair and balanced, then everybody else is probably more extreme than that. So now what's Parry saying? He's saying our diversity is a strength of gaining more perspectives and insights through choosing to share our experiences and views. Okay, Kim B is saying they are thugs. No need to apologize. They are federal thugs, Martinique is saying. No lies told. Certainly that's how they come across. And it reeks of 1939 in Germany. It's been said. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, but it absolutely reeks of it. And I think that there's, with this energy on Tuesday, with the Pluto-Mars energy, it's going to be quite an obsessive day. So be prepared that tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday, there really could be some quite intense energies around and things still coming out in the news. I mean, with each event that happens, we soon lose sight of the event before. So if you think back to just the beginning of the year, Venezuela, that all got forgotten. Epstein files come out. Oh, that all got forgotten. And I can't remember what happened next. But do you see what I'm? Oh, Greenland. That was the next thing. So Greenland. Now we've had Davos and this World Economic Forum. And, yes, quite extraordinary. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace, said Jimi Hendrix, quotes Parry. And you're right, absolutely, Parry. And Christine is saying, our consciousness is struggling with the environment, absolutely, and separation. Distress is weakening. Very good point. Sensitivity is part of the medicine offered to the world. I think that's very good medicine from you, Christine. And Karen Raymond is saying one side is absolutely fake. She's also saying yes, and Germany, yes. And Kimberly or Kim B is saying chaos and distraction is the goal from the president, who even told us at Davos in one of these walkabouts, he said, I'm a dictator. I'm a dictator. He can't say it more clearly than that. So it's a time for caution. And I think what we have to be aware of is over the next few days, and this week in particular, tread carefully in your own lives. Just as Jim would say, go to the chop and carry. Chop wood, carry water. Get through each day, stay in the present, live with the uncertainty, which isn't easy. I absolutely know. Yes, absolutely, Lady Anne. Mars is men. And it's the masculine. And Venus is the feminine. Now, later this week, we get Venus conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. That's actually on Thursday. Now, that may bring a little bit of diplomacy. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with things really quite hot. And then Thursday, perhaps something going on behind the scenes, which brings in an element of diplomacy. And it can be that that we get, I'm just trying to find my notes here. Okay. Yeah. It's a transit through agreement, diplomacy, and social understanding, providing the heart is not totally left out of the equation. Oh, is it? Liz the Iron Maiden, your Venus and Mercury in Aquarius. How lovely. And Christine, you're saying consciousness is experiencing a form of fragmentation of our habitats. And yes, AMAC, I think there are people quietly working for peace in the background. And Jim, the healing medicine of sensitivity. And, it's just, and I just want to stop for a moment and say, thank you, all of you, for being here, because we've got a good audience tonight. And I really want to acknowledge it and say thank you so much for being here and supporting me. And for those of you that are in the comments section, thank you. I appreciate your words. Oh, which reminds me, I've got to tell you, my email on my website isn't working. So if any of you have emailed me in the last 2 or 3 days, I won't know because I can't get my emails. So if you don't hear from me, that's why. And there is one client I'm desperately trying to get hold of. And for some reason, her email address has disappeared from my contacts. In fact, every single email she sent me has disappeared. And I have a session with her tomorrow. And she will know who she is. I'm not going to say her name because she has actually sent me the Zoom link. And it was quite a while ago. So, beautiful lady, please, could you email me on my Gmail account, which is pennydix16@gmail.com, and just at least let me have your birth details. Otherwise, I can't set up your chart, my love. So I hope she gets that message. I hope you get that message. So let's see what else is going on here. So anyway, so that said, now what I've got, because you know me, I like to keep this tight, boundaried to an hour. What I have this week isn't a quote, isn't a poem, it's a Chinese parable. It's quite short, but basically I searched for a Chinese parable that could, what was it I asked? I asked for a theme that shows up, yes, that shows up gaslighting by the people in charge. So this Chinese parable, so this shows you how many hundreds and thousands of years people in power gaslight those beneath them. That's going on in Iran as well. It goes on in every hierarchy. So don't think I'm just pointing fingers at the United States. I'm absolutely not. This is a fault or a deliberate attempt to manipulate and control, and I'm pointing and I mustn't do that, a deliberate attempt to control by those in power. So this Chinese parable, some of you may know it, apparently is a classic, and it's called, I think I did know this one, Calling a Deer a Horse. And it's by Ji Lu Wei Ma. During the Qin dynasty, during the Qin dynasty, a powerful court official named Zhao Gao effectively controlled the emperor. To test how much power he truly had and to see who would submit to his version of reality. So one day, he brought a deer into court and he said, "This is my new horse." Some officials were confused and said nothing. Some laughed and said, no, that's not a horse, it's a deer. And others that feared him, this Zhao Gao, agreed, yeah, it's a horse, nice horse, great horse. So what Zhao Gao did was to punish or execute those who insisted it was a deer. And he promoted and gave money to and power to those who agreed with him. So, of course, the meaning is the reality is deliberately distorted by those in power. And truth tellers are isolated, ridiculed, or removed. Survival depends on publicly agreeing with an obvious lie. Eventually, no one trusts anyone, and the state collapses. And I think that might be what's happening in Iran. I think it's just we don't know. So this story is still apparently used in Chinese culture as shorthand for state-level gaslighting and authoritarian control. So, and probably some of you heard the midweek Astro Witter I did on Wednesday, where I illustrated the gaslighting with the Emperor's New Clothes and the idiocy of top-down control and lies. And so I just thought Oh, this is quite a good one. There's this one as well, which is a very short original parable. Once upon a time, a king declared that the moon rose in the west. Maps were redrawn, songs were rewritten, and those who pointed east were told that their eyes were dangerous. Soon, children learned to point west without looking. One night, the moon failed to appear at all, and no one knew where to search. So, gaslighting is not just lying, it's forcing people to doubt their own perception. Dictators do not need everyone to believe them, only to publicly agree. And the deepest damage is psychological and cultural, not just political. But the collapse often doesn't come until after silence has become normal. And I think that it's, we are receiving a masterclass, as I said at the beginning of the video tonight, in what gaslighting is. And what's Parry saying? To confront a person with his own shadow is to show him his own light. Yes, absolutely. And Christine is saying it teaches us to use the power of gentleness to touch hearts and minds of wounded beings who are trying to keep us all from the sacred mountain. Very good. What's this? Liz the Iron Maiden. The Jones Plantation is a great film. It shows how we have been manipulated. And it reminds me that, I don't know whether that's what you're referring to, but it reminds me of sometimes when we get these extreme cults and how when people have been in cults and maybe they do a mass suicide, the survivors have to go through basically being a deconstruction. They have to be decompressed because they have been so conditioned into the belief about the leader of the cult. Charles Manson was a great example of that. And Simi is saying, I just pray the people's protest in Iran isn't for nothing. Absolutely. Too many innocent lives lost for change not to come. I hope not. And they think that the official figure is 5,000 died, but it's probably higher. It's probably higher. And I think that, Parry, love all the people you can. And let's see if there's anything else. Oh, was it a unicorn? And how is George? Well, George, I took to the vet yesterday, and George has been a little bit quiet today. I think he's a little bit exhausted, and I think he just felt a little bit battered and bruised by having his claws trimmed, 2 jabs, a rabies jab and a cat flu jab, and tested and looked at and heart listened to. So he was very glad to get home. In fact, hugely relieved. So shall we, as we always do, I'll do 3 tarot for the week ahead. Maybe this will shed some light on what we can expect this week, along with, Jim, this is Planet School. It most certainly is. It most certainly is. And there's that one. Oh, and that one. So we've got our 3 cards. So, well, here's the first one. Judgment. We haven't got any naked people, have we? Oh no, I'll have to cover them up. When can we show a naked card from the tarot on the internet? It's ridiculous. Oh, dearie me. Okay, so it's judgment. So we can just show their little heads popping out. So this is really the end of a cycle. So I think perhaps what this card is assuring us of is that we are coming towards a crescendo in everything that has been happening. Because to me, everything feels like it's just speeded up or sped up. Is that better English? Lady Anne, you've got the elk. Or, oh, hi, Imaguari. You're late, but so happy you're still here. It's good to see you. Which deck is favourite, Jim is asking. You love this animal card as much as anything. Someone's pulled an animal card and I don't know what it is. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. Ooh, never mind. Oh, animal medicine card. Deer. Oh, how funny. It was the deer. Gentleness, dear, so gentle and loving you are. The flower of kindness, an embrace from afar. How lovely. And of course, the story was about a deer. Oh, I think we're going to feel a little bit out in the cold. This could be the storm in America. And I think there's a metaphorical storm as well as a weather storm. And the weather maybe is just giving you awesome respite, keeping you indoors and letting people breathe and get some balance back into things. And I want to see what Christine is saying. Dear consciousness struggles with environment separation. Distress has weakened the nervous system. Sensitivity is part of medicine offered to the world. Just connect with the deer, it heals. See me, you've got the Four of Wands, King of Wands, and the Moon. Okay, well, they're quite productive, aren't they? The Four is perhaps a bit of a stalemate. The King of Wands sounds like, that to me, that would be Mark Carney, someone coming in with a little bit of common sense. And the Moon, well, we do have a full moon next week on Sunday. Week today, we have the full moon in in Leo. So, you know, we're heading in that direction. Jim, separation is artificial. Absolutely. Separation is artificial because we are all one. And this is what we have to remember. Even when we get polarized and we hate the thugs or hate the leadership or hate the dictatorship, we have to remember we're just split. We've fragmented. We've split into bits. And what we need is to come together. There has to be some cohesive energy that unites us. That has to come ultimately. And I think it comes in the fact that human consciousness is going through this upgrade. And I know that can sound a little bit woo-woo, but I think it is a little bit of evolutionary history taking place. And we are opening up and seeing much more clearly. And I think this is where the internet and our access to everything is incredibly helpful. So this is where AI can be very helpful to us. Katie Keeley, you're saying Jim is very knowledgeable. Think what Jim would do. I like that. And well spotted, Jim is. And Jim and I have regular chats. And I consider him now a very dear friend of mine. Age of Aquarius, Christine from Earth. You are absolutely right, my love. And collective meditation every Saturday night. Sounds good to me. We can do that. We could say the time that we normally do this video, but on a Saturday instead of a Sunday. And the deers have their environments fragmented by humans. True. They're extremely sensitive animals. We have to connect to deer spirit. I like that. Cosmic Three-Eye Atlas. Age of Aquarius, yes. Cosmic Three-Eye Atlas. You pulled the sailboat departure, detachment from stress, tensions, problems, whether material or spiritual. Okay, that sounds quite positive to me. AMAC, unfortunately, those who are rigid in their opinions use all sorts of reasons to justify that they believe they are right. Yes, Jim, thank you to Katie Keeley. You're not sure about that advice, which means it's true, then, I hasten to add. Now, what's my final card? Okay, well, I've got the Six of Cups. So this is quite interesting because I always think this is about memories of the past when it was good. And before we had access to so much information, maybe life was easier, more peaceful, apart from when we had the two world wars or the Civil War in America. But, maybe things were actually easier. And it was funny, this afternoon, I sat and played really old music that took me back to remembering my parents playing like Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett and all these wonderful, wonderful artists. And it was just so lovely to hear this music and reminisce about a time when I was just a lad, well, actually, when I was just a lass, and how much simpler it is when we're young. And Rainbow Dragon status, the foundation, the supreme identity, Yezua Ra Re Deus Metal Wukong, the position 0 point origin. You are the source of 4K, effortless dominion. Okay. I'll try and digest that. Thank you, Rainbow Dragon. Okay, Sue NB, you're on your way, are you? Okay, great to see you. So I think this is about looking back to the past a bit, and maybe by the end of the week, things will have settled down a bit and some normality will have kind of stepped back in, because really and if I just have a look at what the next major energy is, it's really the full moon next Sunday. So just let me have a look where I've got February. So yeah, you see, we've got the full moon in Leo on the 1st, and then the next big thing after that is Uranus goes direct in Taurus on the 4th. And then on the 6th of February, Mercury enters Pisces. And then we start getting all of those planets entering Pisces. And then we've got this solar eclipse in Aquarius on the 17th. I'm giving you a spoiler alert now for the February month ahead. Venus conjunct the node. The Sun enters Pisces. Saturn conjunct Neptune, February the 20th. And at the end of next month, we have a Mercury retrograde starting on the 26th. So listen, guys, I do love you all. You are awesome. You really are. Absolutely. Yes, Sue NB, all that music. Oh, Lady Anne, you picked the badger. How would you interpret that, Lady Anne? Tell us. I'd be interested to know. See me, lucky to witness such beauty. Pick the badger. Feels such a privilege that she trusts and feels comfortable to do that. I think something happened for See Me, but I don't know what. Okay, look, I'm going to be back next Sunday. And on Sunday, I will do the month ahead, basically, talk about the full moon as it is happening next Sunday. And a very good point, Cosmic 3i Atlas. Let's hope anger and ego will be kept in control. Let's hope it will this week. And yeah, Jim, the old music is oral comfort food. It is, yes. Liz, you've got 3 grandsons' birthdays from the 24th to the 27th. Oh, that's expensive. Oh, and of course, it's Robbie Burns' birthday. So, of course, today is the day when really I should be sitting here with a whiskey, but I've got water. But I might have a wee dram after I finish this live stream to celebrate the great bard, Robert, oh God, Robbie Burns. There we are. I got it out in the end, because this is a very important Scottish holiday, or, point in time, a special day on the calendar. And you just wanted to get your goodbyes in first, Sue NB. That's okay. So listen, I'm going to have a busy week. I've got to actually book the cats for their trip. So it is all happening. And I am going to be booking to leave Malta in July. And so now it's just getting everything sorted out between now and then. So Punam. Oh, I hope I ground you. I think my Taurus energy helps keep some of us down. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, it's just all falling into place. I'm sure it's my Saturn Neptune in Aries. Um, Move the cats, not the bottles. Absolutely. Have you um, do the cats have wellies and woolly coats? Well, one of them's got a nice fur coat. He's got his because he's a long hair. He's a bit like a Norwegian forest cat. So his Maria, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. And in case this lady I'm having a session with tomorrow does watch this, please get in touch with me, but not on penny@pennydix.com, or message me via the website. I'm still getting those messages. Message me and just give me your birth details. Otherwise, we'll just have to do it cold. No other way. So there we go. And yet, Parry, it's good to see you. We were worried about you, and I'm glad to see you're here. So listen, guys, thank you all so much for being here, for your incredible support. I will be doing my midweek Astro Witter or forecast on Wednesday, and then I will be back next Sunday. Oh, and also this week, I haven't recorded it yet. I'll be recording the full moon in Leo as a separate video, and I will do the individual zodiac signs within that full moon video. So that'll may not be out to the end of the week, but I'm probably going to record it tomorrow or Tuesday. And then it's up to Jerry, but Jerry's got to sort out my email first, because I'm just dreading how many emails will be there. So there we go. I'm wittering. So yes, let's pray, as Cosmic 3i Atlas is saying, excuse me, for peace, for common sense to prevail, for truth. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. For truth. Let's pray for peace, truth, and common sense. And I do think I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to leave you wondering what I was going to say. On that word, yes, thanks to Jerry too. Absolutely, yes. Working there behind the scenes. Good old Jerry. Slow and steady wins the race. He hates it. I always message him at weekends when he's having a rest, because things always happen at weekends. It's like, you know, how you always get toothache on a Friday night and you can't get to a dentist till Monday. Or you suddenly develop the flu on a Friday night and you can't get to the doctor. So it is just extraordinary. And so my email went up the spout on Friday night, and it won't even let me sign in. It's saying enter the password. I try, and then it just goes and does all sorts of strange things and goes, woo, woo, woo. Maybe I've got a virus. I don't know. So something that makes sense is what you were going to say. Yes. Well, actually, I was just thinking of somebody that I'd like to give a globe of the world to, so that this person has got a better idea about the world geography and the Northern Hemisphere. That's really what I was going to say. But, you know, what can I say? That's the way it is. No, I'm going to stop wittering and I'm going to go. So listen, guys, I just am so grateful to your support. And I look forward to all of you that I'm going to see this week for sessions, including the lovely lady tomorrow, but hopefully she'll find out. We'll connect. And another planet for him. Yeah. Yes. Well, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Gratitude and trust in truth. Yes. And I'm sure many of you have been on the receiving end of gaslighting, and now you absolutely everyone knows what it's like. Karen, thank you, and my boyfriend are going to do a prayer tonight for the world. Oh, lovely. I will join you with that, because Pam Gregory does hers in about an hour's time, I think, and I'm usually asleep when that one happens. But once I get back to the UK, I'll be on universal time, so it'll be easier. Listen, I'm wittering. Hello, Pernil, oh dear, I can't say your word, but thank you for commenting. It is much appreciated, with a smiley face, a heart, and some hands. So thank you. Thank you everyone for commenting. I'm going, and I will see you next Sunday, and it'll be the month ahead live. And great to see you here, Katie Keeley. And as I say, if you want to go to a good medium and psychic, can't recommend Katie Keeley highly enough. Brilliant lady. There you go. Yeah, love and peace to all, Shirley. Absolutely. Okay, guys, I'm off. Bye. Bye. Bye.